When they ask hourly, what's your hourly rate? What's your hourly rate? I kind of giggle at that a little bit. And I ask our members to also giggle at that and say, no, I don't do anything hourly. I'm far too good, far too experienced. This ain't my first rodeo. I'm a value-based professional. The value of working with me is in the results that you're going to get.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. I am your host, Michael Palmer, and today's show is going to be a fun one. Our guest is the co-founder and managing director of Profit First Professionals, LLC, which he runs along with the author of Profit First, Mike Michalowicz. They also co-host the Grow My Accounting Practice podcast. Ron Saharyan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Michael. I'm excited to be here today.
Well, it's great to have you here, and it's coming right off of seeing you and your wonderful business partner at ProfitCon.
Yes, our global conference. I'm very happy that you were able to make the trip down to Canada and check it all out.
It was an absolute thrill. I mean, what an amazing group of people that you've put together. I would say a tribe of people that are committed to eradicating entrepreneurial, I got it on my mug right here, poverty.
Yeah, there you go.
I just love that. I absolutely love that. And we're going to be helping our listeners eradicate entrepreneurial poverty today on the podcast with you. But before we get too far into that story, I'd really love for you to share with our listener a little bit about you and your career story leading up to today.
Sure, no problem. And again, thank you for having me on here. Back in the day, I started as an investigator, investigating felony ones, murder, rapes, arsons for DC. Then I got in, didn't really want to do that very long. It was pretty dangerous, but I learned a lot about people and perspective. Then was recruited to take over and get into more of the staffing world. And over the years, I grew staffing organizations with a niche specialization, whether it's specializing in pharmaceuticals, specializing in media and entertainment. And then after basically taking a company to its all-time high in revenue, consultants on the street, leading a great sales team and organization, I was told we were done scaling. And so, one of the things was, man, what am I going to do here? I've been busting my butt for the last couple of years, only to realize that we were done scaling. But I've always known that there was something larger out there for me. I mean, I think a lot of us in corporate have that feeling that there's got to be more. There's got to be more. Well, I was blessed with the opportunity to join Mike Michalowicz and create Profit First Professionals in the support of his book, Profit First. And so that's my calling. My calling is to eradicate entrepreneurial poverty by teaching the Profit First methodology to accountants, bookkeepers, and various different coaches.
It's wonderful. I remember reading the book that your business is based on and just thought, wow, what a new, fresh angle for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, well, you know what? The premise of the book isn't really new. It's kind of modeled after grandmother's envelope budgeting methodology. It's not accounting, it's not bookkeeping, it's cash flow management. And our whole belief is if we can really help the business owner pay themselves first, 2, create a war chest of cash for Uncle Sam, 3, have a focus on profit. Even if that profit's 3.5%, the business owner can pay down their debt. They can celebrate the health of the company, or more importantly, they can hire. When people, when small business owners can hire, people have jobs. When people have jobs, it really does relieve a lot of the stress from the home life.
You absolutely bang on. We love that angle here, and there's just far too many entrepreneurs out there working way too hard and doing really great work, and many times world-changing work, not to actually say at the end of it all, wow, I really built something and profited all the way along. It would certainly make it a lot more fun. And you do a lot of great work, and your community is now doing great work. You're up to like 350 members strong, I think, globally, and it's just really beginning, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. A little over 350 globally. The book Profit First is translated in 16 different languages. We have certified firms everywhere from Japan to Mexico to Caribbean islands, all across America, Canada. I mean, it really is a wonderful way of life, if you will. And the premise is to smash the doctrine of sacrifice. It doesn't have to be, as difficult as everybody has had it prior. And by simply implementing the methodology, you're on your way to, eradicating your own poverty.
Absolutely. And so, listener, I can assure you of one thing. It's not many things that I can assure you of this confidently, is that Profit First, the book, is an absolute must-have book to have on your shelf and to be one of those books that you actually have read, because I know for certain it will impact how you talk to, how you deal with, how you interact with your clients. And so I really wanted to get that out of the way and say, look, this is a book that you need to get on your shelf and actually read it. And I have that on the advice of so many of our listeners already, because down there were a whole bunch of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast community members, and as well, our Pure Bookkeeping community members were down there. So this is fantastic stuff. And if you haven't heard of it yet, which I'd be surprised if you haven't, but if you haven't, then this is a really great opportunity. And we have Ron here to give some of your journey. Hearing you speak at the conference, what I loved was your take and story and thinking process around pricing. And I mean, I found it hilarious that your nickname is Obi-Wan Kenobi of pricing.
Thank you. No, and thank you very much for the shout out on the books. It really means a lot to us, and you're doing a wonderful thing. Yes, many of your members are our members as well. You have the systems. We have a branding and a methodology that helps them. So I really believe in the synergies here. And I love pricing. I mean, pricing doesn't have to be as difficult as everybody makes it. But one of the things that I really want to share with your audience, that pricing needs to be personal. And I truly believe that when you make pricing about you and what you need for your family to live the lifestyle that they need, as well as making it a win-win for your customers, well, then that's how you get there. But it really does start with understanding what you need to earn in order for you to know what you can charge.
I completely agree. And I like the idea of making it personal. I think when you make something personal and you're clear about what you need, it changes the game for the person actually going out and doing it.
Right. And I see a lot of firms asking, well, my competitor's charging this, my competitor's charging that. Well, fine. That's okay. One of the keys to pricing really starts off with the value conversation. And that's taking a page out of Ron Baker and Ed Kless's playbook. The value conversation. It's not about how many bank accounts or transactions that they have. It's about, did the business succeed? Did the business pay you what you wanted it to pay you? Do you have the systems and processes in place in order to succeed? What do you want to reduce? So really starting off with great questions is the foundation for receiving the higher value price that you need to deliver world-class services.
It was like you were on the recent podcast I did actually with Ed Kless. It's so perfect. It's like, for our listener, likely they'll be very close episodes. Listeners probably going, did Michael plan this? Because Rod's talking about Ed now, and that's what he was talking about, was that first initial value conversation.
Absolutely. And that's awesome. And one of the things is you tie the value pricing conversation into what we call income targeting, which is reverse engineering what your top line needs to be in order for you to earn the owner's pay following the profit first percentages in the book. It really is going to make it that much difference because, in my opinion, true value pricing is lifting up the hood of the accounting software, seeing really what's going on under there, seeing if it's complex. Maybe they need a cleanup. I prefer to call it a renovation. The reason why I like calling it a renovation, because sometimes if you're talking to a prospect and you say that they need a cleanup, well, a cleanup is associated with something that a child messed up. And you might be talking to the person or the person's spouse that actually got them to the point where they are. So a lot of what we train and what we do, from pricing to sales to everything, is from a behavioral perspective. So by simply just calling it a renovation, it's a lot easier, and you're not kind of saying, hey, you made a mess, previous business owner.
That right there is a piece of gold, solid gold.
Thank you. Yeah.
That right there, put italics around that, bolds, highlighter, underline. Language is so important. And often, even myself, I catch myself saying things. Well, I don't actually catch myself. That's the problem. I say things that it's like, that's not what I actually meant. My mouth is moving, words are coming out, but it's actually not the right words. And we have to think about what we're saying, especially if it's a new relationship. Like you say, if you walk into a new customer and you're having the value conversation and a cleanup comes up, that could take it in a really bad direction.
Right. No, absolutely. And what I've also learned about pricing that makes things very easy to lay out, and where people make mistakes, is people don't necessarily consider heuristics. Heuristics are mental shortcuts that ease our cognitive decision making. Basically, it's a rule of thumb. And so the example that I use is, when people are choiced with buying something, if it's one or two choices, it's take it or leave it. If it's four or more or three or more, it's overwhelming. So there is studies that have said that the ideal number of options is 3. And I think most of our audience knows that. But I see the mistake where people are putting their low price package first, and they're putting their luxury package last. Well, what's happening there is you're using the anchor effect in a reverse way. And also, we are conditioned, we've been brought up to basically think that whatever the price we see is more than we feel it should be. So if you go to a car, you see a price, wow, that's a lot. It's sticker shock. So one of the things is that, and you want to negotiate that. So when you're laying out your packages, when you have the first package first, regardless of what the fee is going to be, they're going to say $250 a month, and they're going to say, oh, okay, well, that's more than I thought. Then they're going to go to the middle package, and it's going to say $750 maybe. Wow, that's even more. Then they're going to go to the luxury package, and they're going to say $1,500. Oh my God, I can't even work with this person. So what you're doing with laying it out in that methodology is actually causing a little bit more pain for the customer and making it harder for them to work with you. So what we recommend is flipping it a little bit, having the luxury package first. Having the luxury package first gets the sticker shock out of the way, and it anchors them on a price that is certainly going to be higher than your other packages. So when heuristics comes into play, and you have your pricing laid out well with the services, the workflows, and right pricing differences, they're going to look and they're going to see that laundry list of services in the luxury, and they're going to say, holy cow, that's an awful lot. I don't need all those bells and whistles. It's overkill. Then they're going to look at the price, and they're going to say, wow, I certainly don't want to pay all of that. Then they're going to look towards the middle package. And that package, when done right, should be what 90% of prospects are looking for. They're going to see the price, and it's going to be less than what the luxury package. So you're actually providing relief. So what we're doing is using that to move into the middle, say, you know what? I like all of these. It's pretty much what I'm looking for. And it's not as expensive as the luxury. Then you go down to the base package. This is where also I see some firms making a mistake. Some people make the base package too fat, too many great services that they look at it and they say, that's pretty good. I could do with some of that. And it's a little bit less expensive. No, that's wrong. What we want is it's so skinny in the minimum services you're willing to provide for a monthly fee that says, you know what? I need more than the base. I need more than that. But at least if I wanted to start working with this firm, I could. But what's happening is done properly, you're using the poles, the luxury and the base, to bounce people into the middle. The middle package is really the package that you want to focus your targets, and also should be containing the services that you and your firm truly enjoy offering.
And this is really interesting. I can tell you, I experienced this just today. I was looking at it was a software product, but I looked at it and it went from low to high, and it's interesting how exact experience. I went from, okay, it's that price, and then it's like, but it just got more expensive. And whereas if I would have looked at the bigger price, I would have gone the opposite direction. I can tell you right now, my experience bang on to what you said.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we see it. The large companies, they spent a lot of money figuring this out. So, you look at Starbucks, they listed in the same way. You look at Wendy's, or any fast food restaurant, they have these options and they list them in a similar fashion. And so by having your packages laid out this way and the pricing structured this way, you're providing relief and you're tying in heuristics and previous purchasing behaviors. It really does. Then you add in the fact that this is also about you. One of the recommendations that we did like to suggest with our members is have a floor for each one of those packages. So let's just say the floor for the middle package is $1,000. Well, that's the minimum amount of money you're willing to accept to provide company X with those specific services. Where I think value really comes on in is understanding the customer's needs, understanding what their pain is, understanding what they want to achieve and reduce, and then lifting up the hood to see what's really going on in their organization. I mean, if they're a $5 million company, well, you're probably going to be wanting to charge them more than $1,000 a month for the services contained in that middle workflow. And now, additionally, if you want to charge them less than that, you can still do that. But it really is a combination of assessing the entire landscape of what's going on in the business, relying on what the answers to those smart questions you asked were, tying it all together and providing a customized experience for the prospect. And that's really key. It's the experience that we want to change in the industry.
And so you said that there's a base. Now, I'm hearing you correctly. They've published, is that the base price that has been published in that middle option, or is it just one mentally that is their base?
It's one mentally.
Got it.
That is there. Absolutely. Because one of the things is, and if you show what a price is, I believe that you're kind of stuck to that a little bit. Even though if you put on your website that the pricing is to start at 1,000, and then it's only going to go up. And most people don't read the fine print, unfortunately. So, I learned a long time ago that ad in for that car that I really want, that Mercedes, if you will, isn't $99 a month, right?
That's right.
And so, of course, I want power windows, power seats. I might even want a radio in there.
You might want it to run.
Yeah, I might want it to run. Right, exactly. I may not want the AMG package. I may not want all the bells and whistles there, but I certainly don't want the base model. right? So what's the safe option? The middle option. Okay. So, following suit, we need to do that as well.
Got it. And so with the pricing on these packages, this is not put out publicly on the like on a website. Correct. Because what's going to happen, as I read that paper and as you alluded to, they're going to come and say, yes, I'm interested. I saw that your monthly services are $1,000 a month. This is perfect. Sign me up. Okay. Well, I'd need to have a little bit more of a conversation with you to learn a little bit more. I need access to your QuickBooks and this. Then you lift up the hood and you say, oh, okay, well, I'm going to need you're going to need a renovation. Then you're going to take a look and you say, okay, well, do you want bill pay? And yes. Then you're going to say, would you like this, and that? Next minute, that $1,000 is $2,500. And the person that walked in the door saying, geez, I thought I was getting into $1,000. Now everything I'm talking to this person about, every time I open my mouth, the price is going up. I'd rather not even have that. I'd rather, look to provide custom pricing for that individual based upon their needs and my needs. Got it. And so for our listener that has a pricing page or packages, what's your recommendation? Is it just to find a way to get them to engage through something else other than price, or do they have maybe some services? What's the recommendation there? Well, you can't really go wrong here, Michael. I mean, it really depends on what you're trying to build. And if many businesses use a price attraction and price discrimination. Okay, when you're putting prices on your website for the bookkeeping, my experience is that's price attracting. You're trying to attract the customers that can afford that. Okay, and how I relate it is the restaurant industry. In my world, I like to say there's three types of restaurants. There's the fast food restaurant, there's the mom and pop restaurant, and then there's fine dining. Each one of those, you can get a burger with some kind of bread around it. But one of them is selling 99-cent hamburgers, and they're displaying 99-cent large on their windows. The next is a mom and pop restaurant. Okay, it's still hamburgers, but maybe their burger is $15. Okay, then you go into Ruth Chris or a high-end steakhouse. Well, maybe their burgers are $50, and they are pricing. Okay, you putting their prices on their menus outside on the windows. Now that's using price discrimination. So what we like to do with our members is ask them, what type of restaurant do you want to be? What type of accounting firm do you want to be? Do you want to use price attraction? Do you want to use price discrimination? Or you can provide customized pricing. Okay, so there's price attraction, price discrimination, customized pricing. We prefer customized pricing, but the added concern with customized pricing is that you do have to have filtering in place. If you are going to be providing concierge type of services, well, you don't want the folks that only can afford 99 cents for a hamburger coming into your office and then screaming and yelling at you why, accounting services are $10,000 a month. Absolutely. It brings up a memory of in our Successful Bookkeeper Facebook group. Someone had told a story about they went in, they had a discovery call, they put together a proposal, they presented the proposal, and at the end of it, he's like, whoa, I thought bookkeepers got paid $12 an hour. Not real ones. That's right. The G.I. Joe, the G.I. Joe doll bookkeepers, right? The plastic ones. So, I'm sure that's probably not the first time you've heard something like that. But when you said making sure you're filtering, you want to make sure that you've not brought sitting in front of somebody who's expecting the 99-cent burger when you've got that $50 one waiting to be served up. Right. And so filtering can be done an automated way through your website, whether you have a kind of form that fills things out, that is explaining that this is the type of customer that you're working for, the type of services that you provide, the industries that you work with, and you can put in there a revenue.
Many of our members only work with companies that are over 500,000 in yearly revenue, and that they're in a specific domain using a specific software. So you can say that. There's nothing wrong with that, but still people are going to squeak on through, right? And so one of the things that we like to do that's worked really well is you have an online application that gets the basic information. And then, we send another email following up with about additional information about what it's like to work with us. And also we indicate what the restrictions are. Okay. And it's all in a video. It's all in this. So to be a profit first professional, need to have 2 years in business and a minimum 75,000 in turnover. And we share that before it even gets to scheduling with one of our team members to have that conversation. Now, Michael, what people still will slip through. And I am a big believer that if somebody asks you what your pricing is, you have to give them an answer. Okay. It frustrates me. I was looking to buy a fence to go around my yard, and I'm talking to the fence guy, and I'm saying, Bill, how much is this going to cost roughly? I'm not holding your feet to the fire, but give me an estimate. And, I have an acre of property, and I was looking for just aluminum fence, nothing fancy smancy, just something to keep the deer and the kids and the animals out. And it's like, well, I don't know.
The deers, the animals, and the kids out?
Yeah. We have a lot of kids in our neighborhood, and there's no fences, and they all run all over the place.
That's awesome.
I'm like, give me an idea. Well, I don't know, Ron, you have a lot of, I'm like, how long you been doing this, Dave? 20 years. Well, based on your experience, can you at least just give me a ballpark? Am I playing in $10,000 park? Am I paying 15, 30, 5? What? I really can't tell. And I was like, you know what? Whatever. And so, it left me in a foul mood that I almost wanted to call somebody else. It's like, just give me an idea, man. And so when people ask us, hey, Ron, and it happens all the time. Sometimes they just want to know what the investment, or they say price. They don't realize that sometimes it's an investment. To be a pure bookkeeper and utilize the systems and processes you have, like, that's an investment. It's not an expense. It's not a cost. It's an investment. And same thing when working with a profit first professional as well as becoming one. So, but again, people will ask, what is it cost? I say, well, it's a little unfair for me to simply state a price without understanding what your needs are and sharing what we're doing. But since you asked, and I want to provide you with an answer, my elite customers invest $2,000 a month to work with us. Now, I'm not saying that that's what your investment is going to be. It might be less, but that's what the investment for our elite customers pay. Would you like to continue the conversation?
Love it.
Right. And so one of the things too that I've learned is that, flip it and apply it to their particular industry. I was coaching one of our members, and she was working with a landscaper, and the landscaper was like, how much? And I told her to say, well, how much to cut my yard? Can you just tell me? Is it $50 a cut? Well, what if I have 5 acres? You sure it's still $50 a cut? What if I have tons of terraces? What if the slope of the hills is crazy? So you want to frame it and reframe it in a way where you're talking to them and sharing how it's a little unfair if you were just to ask them how much it costs. Same with painting a house. The same thing. It works in every industry.
It's fantastic. You have given such great gold just right there, which is, it's exactly what to say. Tweak it as you will, make it your own, but it's a very clear and a powerful way to answer a question that I know all of our listeners deal with, as well as myself. I mean, you're not selling anything if you don't have that question come up. And so I love the way you've answered it.
Right. Thank you. And when they ask hourly, what's your hourly rate? I kind of giggle at that a little bit. And I ask our members to also giggle at that and say, no, I don't do anything hourly. I'm far too good, far too experienced. This ain't my first rodeo. I'm a value-based professional. The value of working with me is in the results that you're going to get.
beautiful. We're just going to write all these out. We're going to get everybody practicing the way they say them, and it's going to make a big difference for their business. I mean, it's pure gold. I love it. Now, you also talked about that middle package being the one you love to deliver. How do you know which one? How do you know what goes in all these packages?
Sure. No, great question. Thank you. I look at it as resume writing. Okay. One of the things we want to do too is an analysis of what our current workflow is. And so what we want to do is on Excel or something, you list all of the services that you provide to every single customer, all of the services that you've provided to customers in the past, maybe even services that you've never provided before. Okay. Then you go over to that's the basis of the luxury package. Right. The foundation of it. So we're getting it all in there, just like a resume, throw everything in there under the sun. Then we're going to the base package, skip it over to the middle, go to the base package. And then what we're doing is what are the minimum services that we're willing to offer on a monthly basis? Minimum. Not, hey, I can do this, and that. It should be only a couple of things. That's the basis of your base package. Now, this is a pretty cool exercise. One of the things that we like to take our members through, you list all your services from top to bottom, all of your companies that you're working with from left to right in Excel. Then you start placing an X into each one of those fields where you're providing services to those customers. What you're going to see when you analyze it is that you probably have a few customers that you're providing, maybe 2-3 customers at the most that you're providing a ton of services for. Then you're going to look and you're going to see there's a couple companies that you're providing very little services for, but you're going to look at the grouping in the middle. Then you're going to analyze and see, okay, the majority of my customers are receiving the majority of these services. That is the basis of your middle package. Then you add to the middle packages the services that you want to include. Maybe it's profit first. Maybe it's another type of consultative offering. Maybe it's insurance. Who knows? Whatever it happens to be. That is your ideal package. But you've done the analysis to support that the customers you already have, 90% of what you're providing is in this middle package. Now, one of the things is that most people are conditioned to pick the safe option. And so people shouldn't be looking to sell the luxury package. If somebody does pick it, well, it should be priced so high that you say, cha-ching, awesome. Okay, but the safe option is the middle package. And so by doing an analysis of what your current services are for the customers that you're current there, that's the basis of the middle package.
Love it. Such an interesting conversation, such a valuable conversation. There's a lot here that this is definitely an episode I recommend a re-listen, take notes, and we'll provide those notes for you as well, listeners, so you can look at the show notes. But really, if you just follow the flow of this conversation, you can create a conversation, you can handle some objections, and you can figure out how you're going to go to market with pricing. Now, obviously, it sounds probably easier than it is, and that's why I recommend going and checking out, Ron, your podcast. You have probably a lot more of this content, and as well, you have a great community. You can just tell by being on this call, you have a wealth of knowledge and are probably an incredible coach helping people. And so I'm sad that we're up on time because I think we could just keep on chatting. But is there anything else that you'd like to add in before we share with folks how they can get more information from you?
Yep, absolutely. One last tip. When you're doing your client services workflow analysis and you look at it and it looks like somebody fired a shotgun at it, that's a problem. It's going to hurt trying to scale. That means you, as many customers as you have, that's how many bosses you have. And to streamline your workflow is a great way to scale your business. So if it is all over the place, look to protect your workflow a little bit better and control, what the services you are providing for those customers.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that can be one that anybody that sort of started from early on in their business at a time where a client is a good thing, it's like it might be a hodgepodge of different clients, payroll, tax, all over the place. And you're absolutely right. If you think about it, anybody that's trying to do a whole bunch of different things, number one, it's going to increase the time to do things. Your ability to be an expert at it will diminish, and you're spreading yourself thin. So you're saying, figure out what it is you love doing, figure out what you're great at, put those into your packages, and get rid of the rest.
Yeah. In essence, create the job that you enjoy doing.
Yeah, love it. So love it. I know, Ron, it's been great having you on. What's the best way for our listener to get more from you?
Sure. They can email me at ron.s@profitfirstprofessionals.com. That's the number one way. You could also go to profitfirstprofessionals.com. Check out the website. There's a field that says become one. Love to have a conversation to learn more about your business and share what we're doing over here.
It's beautiful. You're doing great things. I really consider both yourself and Mike to be heart-based entrepreneurs making a real difference in the world. So it's been a privilege for us and our listeners to have you.
No, thank you very much, Michael. I truly appreciate it. And keep doing what you're doing. You guys are kicking butt as well.
Thank you. We love what we're doing. We're having a ton of fun.
Awesome.
Well, that wraps another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. To learn more about today's wonderful guest and to get access to all sorts of valuable free business building resources, you can go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.